have you found working over Zoom so far?
Directing over Zoom was quite the challenge, and because we didn't actually shoot over Zoom, so what we've done is we filmed it on a DSLR camera, which like sort of camera, which Hannah, our leading lady, sort of already had and sort of mic set up. So bless her, as well as having to perform it, she also had to set the camera up, set the mic up, whilst I, through a laptop, which was on the floor, would then be kind of directing her performance-wise kind of thing. So yeah, quite a challenge, but we got there. I think we got some good stuff.
So when you came to think about what you thought this project was going to be, like how long has it been in the making?
Just to give you a little bit of background, I basically, my fiance took his own life in sort of August of 2019, which imploded my whole universe, as you can imagine. And then unfortunately, series of unfortunate events in terms of really struggling to kind of get help, you know, in terms of overwhelmed systems, and what was initially a fantastic support network in terms of friends and family, as I sort of myself became suicidal and sort of changed from being quite, you know, hopeful and trying to be brave and get through things, being very honest about, you know, the raw ugliness of grief. Unfortunately, that kind of scared a lot of people, and I sort of found myself, you know, a few people kind of leaving and stuff, which was it's a combination of things that was all too much, that led me to kind of attempt to take my own life. And subsequent to that, I then found real solace in writing, a little bit of therapy, but mainly when I found a young widow support group. It also really reinforced that these are all things that are, you know, death is the one thing in life that everybody's going to deal with, whether or not. But it's also the one thing, or one of the things in life that people are terrible with. People don't like to talk about it. People can't handle it. And in talking to my other young widows, found that it was a very common theme that they too had been, you know, abandoned quite a lot by sort of friends and stuff in their grief. And it's not that people do it intentionally, of course, it's just that people don't know what to say, and people in general, and this goes for sort of mental health issues as well, people are just uncomfortable with sitting with another person's pain, you know? It doesn't need to be anything more than that, just allowing people their experiences. And in the environment that we're now in with, you know, social media being what it is, there's this element of sort of toxic positivity of always having to look on the bright side, and, you know, hashtags of being kind and this, that, the other. When it comes to real life support, people don't have the tools, the know-how to, you know, to deal with these things, which are actually very, very common and very normal. And when you bring the darkness to the light, you know, it doesn't magically cure anything, but it just sort of makes things easier, and knowing that you're not alone and that other people are experiencing these things. So I kind of wanted to write this play, you know, for myself. It's very therapeutic, but also to kind of give voice to the people whose voices are, you know, suppressed and denied. And so life can be awful, and denying people's experiences of that, you know, telling them that it's not, and they should cheer up, and there's always hope, and there's always, that's just not true. That's just, you know, not the reality. So that was sort of the intent behind it, but with a sort of comedic spin, because that's always how I like to kind of, it's how I deal with things, you know, comedy, again, dragging the darkness into the light. If I make fun of stuff, then it doesn't overwhelm me, it doesn't control me, I'm the one in the driving seat. And I also think it makes things more easily digestible for people to deal with these subjects as well. It's funny because I get that a lot of people kind of say like, isn't it difficult to kind of, it's really personal and it's come out, you know, living in this space. But as soon as it's out of my head, it's incredibly therapeutic for me to, you know, get it out. And the second that it's out of my head, it's not me anymore, it's this character. So there's a sort of safe emotional disassociation. I'd been working on this play, which is based on my experiences, as I said, about a young widow kind of leaving video diaries, messages to her late fiance, but they're sort of interspersed with memes and gifs, lipsticks, emojis, in terms of, again, bringing the sort of humor, but also pop culture being a very recognizable communication tool. So the idea with this that we wanted to do was to shoot these monologues and then find a visual designer to basically animate, you know, a lot and do graphics for a lot of these memes and stuff. And having put the call out and stuff, we were incredibly fortunate to have Huge Designs on board, who are the titles company. They do the titles for The Walking Dead.
Oh, wow.
And things like that. Oh, I know, absolutely crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, luckily they love the script, and they, you know, believed in the sort of message behind it. And so yeah, I saw some stuff just yesterday, and it's looking amazing, and I'm very, very excited.
There was a lot of toxic positivity around you, and you sort of felt like failed by sort of the help things that you sort of thought would come into play and help you. So you've met with a charity, and they're on board with you now? Like,
the piece is quite difficult and it's very heavy, and it's a bit of a worst case scenario kind of thing. But I really want the message to be, you know, if we, obviously we need to be better at talking to each other, but also if you can find resources for people who are going through the same thing as you or who get it, that's really important. And because mine is a story of sort of young widowhood specifically, but grief is universal, as I said, and I think, you know, elements of it expand beyond those sort of personal experiences. So I wanted to partner with a grief charity at large, especially in this day and age, you know, living in the apocalypse, when now more than ever, you know, their services are desperately, desperately needed. So have partnered with Cruse Bereavement, who are the UK's biggest charity. And unfortunately, with the official channels, and as I said, these are in the before times, now things have only gotten worse, you know, being so overwhelmed. It's just, you know, the support just isn't there. And that's why these charities like Cruse are so important, putting you in touch and connecting with people and support groups and that kind of thing. And so, wanted to raise awareness and also raise money for these guys, because they, you know, they obviously need it more than ever. So we will be, when the tickets go on sale, we'll have a sort of little donation link so people can, you know, donate there. And then,
how have you found working with Tablespoon? Like, who are you working with it?
So Alice is my producer / partner, who's wonderful, and the whole experience has been great, to be honest with you. It's been a really collaborative vibe. We've been doing these, you know, potluck mixers, so where we've had a little chance to meet the other team members and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But beyond that, the support has just been phenomenal. You know, we've sort of been doing these weekly kind of check-ins. And Alice in particular, who sort of, you know, specializes in these kind of areas of support kind of thing, has just been wonderful at just, you know, there's no pressure on any of it. We're all in it together and want to create the best work that we can do, but it's all also important that, you know, everybody look after themselves. And
talking to people, all the people who, like, the playwrights and the directors, they're so diverse, they're so different from each other.
I mean, that's what I loved as well when we did the mixer and we kind of, you know, heard everybody's stories and stuff. There's this a real sort of, and again, purely because the fact of being able to do it digitally, right? So there's people from Peru and people from America and France, and it's a really diverse group of people and of stories. Although interestingly, there is a big undercurrent of which I think is fantastic, and I think is really, you know, what theatre excels at, is difficult subjects told in interesting, you know, ways.